Hello everyone, my name is Angelo and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to actually talk about the BlackArch Protos-M AIWB holster. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it. And real quick, we're just going to clear this gun. As you can see, it is clear. I was just about to decock it, but I forgot it's a striker-fired gun. So in case you guys are wondering, this is the first generation P10C, but we're going to talk about that in another video. So, initial impressions. I've worn this holster for a week. And not gonna lie, I'm gonna sound like a fanboy for probably the next however long this video is. This holster is fantastic. It is definitely by far the best $80 to $90. I don't remember how much I spent on it that I've ever spent on a holster. This by far has destroyed every other holster in existence for me anyway, and that's just because of this right here, this leather backing, and then this I guess sweat wicking / breathable material back here. It destroys all the other holsters, even the P30 SK Vetter holster. Don't get me wrong, that Vetter holster is a great holster, being an all Kydex holster, but comfort wise, this is king right here, and it just looks so, it's so symmetrical and it's pretty, and it's a truly high quality holster. Now as you can see, I've only worn it for a week and these edges are starting to curl a little bit, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie, I love this holster. Now there are some cons to this holster that within a week I've already noticed, so we can start off with that now, or we can start off with the pros. So it's up to y'all. I'll give you a second. Cool, we're doing the cons. Sorry, I don't mean it to be a dictatorship, but I really don't want to make a second video and a third video of going back and then coming back to this. It's a headache. Maybe one day I'll be interactive, but yeah. Anyway, so what's the major con of this holster? What is the major con of this holster? Oh, wide footprint. So basically, the first con with this holster is that it's a pretty wide footprint in comparison to a normal Kydex holster. A normal Kydex holster is literally just this right here, this piece right here. So it's significantly larger. That's pretty much the only con here. The only other con is actually this high guard right here. I don't remember if I could adjust what type of guard I got for the leather holster, but basically, like with any other leather holster, or with any other hybrid holster, I should say, is that when you have a high leather guard like this, what happens is that if you're a chunky boy like myself, is that when you pull the gun out and you got a little bit of a gut going, basically what happens, this kind of pushes in a little bit. Luckily this is a pretty thick piece of leather. Back here seems like just a kind of like a suede soft leather, but up front here it's a pretty rigid piece of leather, and as you can see it's double stitched. So what happens is that a little bit here is that this kind of gets pushed forward a little bit because I have a gut. I mean, that again, that's all leather holsters. I highly doubt it's ever, like, just by doing this I can tell how much resistance I have to put on it just to get it to fold over. I don't think this is going to fold over, or if it's going to fold over, it's going to fold over after a long period of time. So that I'm not really worried about. One thing too is that you have a finite amount of locations for at least appendix where you can put this, because it has such a wide footprint. For me, if you go too far right, then right here becomes an issue. If you go too far left, right here becomes an issue. Now they've made cuts down here to kind of alleviate that problem, but for the most part I only can put this in one position, and that's exactly at 12 o'clock. So just keep that in mind with this holster. So those are pretty much the only two cons. The third con is the advertising on the website can be confusing if you're not careful. And what I mean by that is that there's a dry matrix holster, right? It's a cheaper holster than this one. It looks very, very similar, but the main difference is that it's a true hybrid holster, meaning it doesn't have this 3/4 design. Basically what you're paying for the Protos-M is for that 3/4 design. Now for those of you that want a strong side holster, they do make that as well. It's a much larger footprint, but it's essentially the same design, where you take the 3/4 shell and then it's just a larger piece of leather, and on that one you can adjust the cant and all that stuff, and it's a pretty standard strong side hybrid holster. I don't have one, so I can't really speak on it all that much, but yeah, basically the main reason why you're paying $80, $90, $100 depending on what color you get and all the designs and stuff. You can get different color leathers as well, is that, but anyway, the point, I keep getting sidetracked. The main point of why you're buying this holster is for this right here, this 3/4 thing. If you're that type of person that likes the Kydex click like that, but you also want more comfort, this is the way to go. This holster by far is definitely worth the price tag of whatever they're charging. I would highly recommend it. There is one other con though, and this might be remedied with just a longer screw and with a claw. So at least for this gun specifically, for the CZP-10C, this grip is long, and basically this point right here sticks out, and no matter, unless I severely muffin top myself and I just wrench down on my belt, it is hard to hide this grip. Now again, this could just be because of how large the gun is. I'm sure with a shield, with a subcompact like the P30SK, this holster would do fine. But I don't know if it's an engineering issue, or I don't know if it's, or whatever it is. Maybe I just didn't select the option. But if you can add a claw to this holster and find a way to get the claw to rise to this, if not farther, and stick it out even farther, this holster would be perfect. But again, I think that, as you can see with how much of a size disparity between these screws and where this clip is, this would be an engineering nightmare to cheaply engineer a claw for this gun. So I understand why it doesn't come with one, but yeah, that's really the only thing I would add to this gun. I keep saying gun, I mean to say holster, but yeah, that's the only thing I would add to this holster, is a claw, because again, when it does sit in my waistband, this kind of sticks out, because again, I'm a chunky boy. So what happens is that it kind of does this, and I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but hopefully you can kind of get by the angle. If this is a level playing field, it kind of does this, and this sticks out a little bit, and it's super noticeable. So unless I wrench down and muffin top myself, then it'll kind of turn itself in. But yeah, the only other thing that I can really think of other than that is yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got. That's the only downside of this holster, major downside. Oh, one other thing, also concealing this gun sitting, you might as well just be open. You might as well just put it in your lap. So basically what it happens is, at least when I sit down, what happens to this gun is that it does this, and then it does this. And like, it is crazy noticeable. Like, even like just sitting, like, unless like I'm gonna like lay my legs out and pretty much almost be like laying in a chair, you're gonna notice that this gun is on my waistband. It sticks out terribly. Again, I'm a chunky boy, so it could just be because I'm a little chubby, but if you're slim bodied, like Tactical Toolbox or like Warrior Poet and all that stuff, I'm sure you'll be fine. But if you're a chunky boy, that is something you need to seriously consider. As you can see here, it just slides right in. But here is the best part about this hybrid holster. Almost dropped the gun. Click. That is key, is that click. That's what I love. Now if you look here inside this holster, as you can see, it is a 3/4 shell for the Kydex, and then only the back itself is only leather. Now why is this important? This is important because in most hybrid holsters, this quarter shell right here is non-existent, right? It's literally just a piece of leather and a piece of Kydex, and then you squish it together, and then basically what you would do is that you would put the gun in the holster, but the gun will just fall right out, right? As you can see here, the gun doesn't fall out. But in a normal hybrid holster, the gun would normally fall out, because in a hybrid holster, you need the pressure of your belt and your body to squeeze the holster to maintain retention. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. That's why I use Kydex holsters. But BlackArch has done an amazing job of making a truly hybrid, in my opinion, holster for concealed carry. Now, the biggest thing here is that, what is the benefit of having this 3/4 shell? The benefit of having a 3/4 shell is, like as I shown earlier, is that positive click, right? That's, for me personally, that's what I love about Kydex holsters, is that I hear this positive click. Now on top of that, unlike other hybrid holsters, is that you can actually, I mean, on hybrid holsters you can adjust retention, right? But you cannot adjust retention the same way. So here you tighten down these two screws. These two screws pinch down on this trigger guard, and the trigger guard is actually what retains the weapon. So again, going back in the holster, your main friction point, or the main part right here, as you can actually see this little divot, that's where the retention is on this holster. Now don't get me wrong, if you tighten these right here, I'm sure it would pinch down here on the back too, but at least from what I can tell, your main point of retention is actually right here. At least that's what it feels like. Now again, why is this important? This is important because even as you can see, I know I just keep taking the gun in and out, but I'm really excited about this holster. Like, it's been a while since a gun product has wowed me in this fashion, and this has wowed me. Now, as you can see, when it's not in the holster, if I shake it, it doesn't come out. And that's important because, again, in hybrid holsters, since this retention piece is not here, if you shake it, it comes flying out, and that's no bueno. Now, I don't know about y'all, but at least when I'm sitting at home, this gun is actually not in my waistband. It just sits right here on the desk, just like this. Just right within arm's reach all the time. And I just keep it in the holster so that way the trigger's not exposed and nothing can catch on it, or, you know, if for some reason I knock it off the desk, like, it's in a holster, right? Now, continuing on, what really wowed me about this holster, other than the 3/4 Kydex, is actually the leather here, the leather and the dry matrix. Or now I want to say it's their dry matrix system. It's their breathable backing here. As soon as you put this on, it's like putting on a silk robe. It's like putting on some fuzzy slippers. It's like putting on a jacket when you're in the middle of the winter when you're cold. It is the most comforting thing that you will ever feel. Now, I know it seems like I'm exaggerating, but keep in mind, for the past about 1.5 to 2 years, I have only worn purely Kydex holsters. I'm used to feeling hot plastic pushed up against me. I'm used to like pulling my holster out of my pants and seeing the back of it just completely covered in sweat. I'm used to feeling pressure points, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, pressure points of the Kydex pushing against my pelvis. And this is just one of those things where, like, I've worn this holster for a week, and I will probably buy more of these holsters, guaranteed, for sure, not even question it, because the amount of comfort that you get is not even close. At least, well, I mean, that can't be true, because I'm sure there are other hybrid holster companies that do make really comfortable holsters, but not in this same way, as far as I'm aware. Now, going with the clip, as you guys know, if you've been a long time viewer of the channel, I like dual clips. This clip is fine with this little hook right here, and with this, I'm pretty sure they almost perfectly measured this to be exactly 1.5. So there is no play, there is no tilting or nothing, especially since there's these 2 screws, and as you can see, they are non-adjustable. They have to be straight up and down. You would have to remove this top screw or this bottom screw, depending on which one, to adjust the cam. Now, with that being said, this stays in place, it doesn't tilt, it doesn't move, and then also, since this is such a tight, what's the word? Not fitting, it's such a tight tolerance, it doesn't shift at all, it just stays right here. Now, with that being said, would I prefer a wider clip? Yes. Would I prefer dual clips? Absolutely. Just because it's a heavier gun and it's a bigger gun, and it just makes me feel a lot better. Or if this was just a steel clip, that's really the only way I would improve this clip system at all, is either have a better clip here or turn this into a steel clip or whatever. But outside of that, it's fine. I didn't really mess with this at all, and then I only adjusted the retention. Now, speaking of the adjusting retention, when this when this holster first came in, for my personal preference, it was too loose. Right, I had to tighten both of these up pretty significantly before I got to this retention that I am now. As you can see, it requires a little bit of effort for me to pull out, but that's also because, like, this isn't up against a belt or nothing. Like, it's just in my hand, and I have to kind of do this motion to get it out. But when it's in the holster, when the holster is properly on my belt and on my waist, it pulls out pretty smooth. And like I said, personally, I think that the retention it started off with was too loose. Now, this could just be something that they intentionally do. They intentionally make it loose so that way you adjust it to your liking and you don't have to loosen anything up. It does come with some extra screws. I would assume that, I'm not entirely sure why it comes with extra screws. They look longer. I'm not sure if they're actually longer, because as you can see, the screws go here all the way through the Kydex, and then, well, you might not be able to see it because of the black, but there we go. The screws go through all the Kydex, and then they go right here into the spacer, and then I think they just screw right into the leather. Yeah, That's pretty much all I got. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. Thank you for watching the video. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and go ahead and share the video if you feel it's worth a share. Visit me on my Facebook page, and if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, or if you would like to send me a personal message, go ahead and visit my Facebook page and send me a message there, and don't forget to like that as well. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the next one. Also, if you want to know something that might interest you, just click on that video there on the bottom left. Go on, click it. Pretty please? Yeah? Alright. See you later.